This here is a haul video I have been putting off for over half a year because I really believe nobody is interested in any of these comics at all. I have had these since January, and if I don't bite the bullet and do this video now, they won't get on screen until 2032. This is my second themed haul. I quite like the quest to track down everything with these. What we have here is the entire Marvel imprint known as Razorline. Razorline was 4.5 books that were short-lived. Razorline was an imprint they gave to Clive Barker. All the books are from the mind of Clive Barker, and none of the books are written by the hands of Clive Barker. Am I a Clive Barker fan? Am I fuck? The one that appealed to me and which led to me getting these 40 comics is Oakham and X. We saw the name Oakham and X in one review when I was going through the checklist of what was out that month. And I was outright pretending I didn't know what Oakham and X was for comic effects. I owned these back then. Quality acting from me, no doubt. Oakham and X is the one that is or was considered the best of the line. But what grabbed me is it is a book about a mystic who is also an unsuccessful, miserable stand-up comedian, and he bangs a vapid blonde supermodel sort. It kind of speaks to me. These books, which are not written by Clive Barker, also boast writers that are not big names. So the twist might be, there could be a hidden gem in here somewhere. There is a celebrity writer. One Razorline book was written by a future famous person and a future woman too. This was the issue that was listed in whatever review it was. I remember I showed this cover, The Incredible Z-Man. Oh yeah, this is a Marvel imprint, but it's not set in the Marvel universe. Trip Monroe isn't meeting Doctor Strange anytime soon. That is his name, Trip Monroe. I'm sure in the legendary Christopher Clairvoyant run on Oakham and X, he will reveal it is the brother of No Man. Look, Smithers, bloodshed is coming. Sounds to me like Korg has some company. The art for Oakham and X is by the guy who did... That will be the last time you ever hear that. It stopped being funny so long ago. I've gone out of my way to never even mention that book or character for 2 or 3 years now. The artists for Razorline are the names you might vaguely recognise here. The series ends at issue 9. The line was a roaring success, by which I mean the opposite. Marvel were already flooding the market and Razorline came and went. No idea what order I'm doing this in. Saint Sinner is the shortest of the titles, so it's here where I'll talk about what happens. Saint Sinner, however, is about a man who is half angel and half devil. Clive Barker later took the name and used it for something else. Saint Sinner. He did another thing called Saint Sinner, but there's no connection to this other than the name. Clive Barker, the less embarrassing Stephen King, or the ornier Stephen King, however you want to look at him, he went into this with some actual respect and fondness for American comics. He wanted to create comics that would be, to new readers, what ad Doctor Strange and Spider-Man comics were for him. Oakham and X was meant to be kinda his version or his reinterpretation of Doctor Strange. One of the next ones is Excellent Men. Saint Sinner here probably is meant to be... Maybe it's like Hulk, Jekyll and Hyde. My gut went Satan's son, but thinking now it feels like it might be a Hulk thing. Clive Barker was instead disappointed that the comics were promoted poorly and barely sold anything. This was 1993 and 1994, the worst years to be a new Marvel book. Launching a line of new untested ideas wasn't going to work because Marvel were shitting out books like they were on an all-fibre diet. These books didn't last a year, none of them did. It's a bit sad because Clive Barker really did come across enthusiastic and respectful of comic books and the medium. The other thing is Clive Barker, allegedly, was really screwed over by Marvel. And not only did they barely promote the comics, he saw next to no money from Razorline. All this to say, I cannot remember who writes or draws Saint Sinner. It ends at issue 7. Our third one is Hyperkind, and these all have these gimmick covers, and you can barely see this one on camera. It doesn't matter how I move it, it just looks dark. It's not that dark in person. They've all got covers like this, but this one's really bad. I think that's the closest you're going to be able to get to seeing this on camera. Hyperkind is the one that is meant to be like Excellent Men. That is one of two things I know about Hyperkind. The other is that our artist is none other than Smurf Devil's very own Tom Paris. Hyperkind is a terrible name. I do not like the name, and nor do I like the name Oakham and X. I think the problem with Razorline isn't just its timing. I think these are comics that unfortunately only would appeal to people because of Clive Barker's name. Clive Barker fans would be interested. But when the rest of the audience has the pick of Excellent Men or Clive Barker's Hyperkind, they are picking Excellent Men. And when it comes to the Excellent Men and Clive Barker, didn't he already do that and it was called Nightbreed? Nightbreed is shit. They do Nightbreed comics. Marvel, they did Nightbreed comics. Before this, they did a Nightbreed ongoing. I hate Nightbreed. I've seen both versions of Nightbreed. They're both crap. Do you want me to get the Nightbreed comics too? Would you be interested in Nightbreed? The Nightbreed comics? Is that something you'd want to see on here? I also reckon, take Clive Barker's name off these. Imagine how much more they would have bombed. His name, a name I don't put much stock in even, his name is the only thing elevating these. Hyperkind is the tied longest lasting of the books. And if we go back, they appear in Oakham and X too. Razorline is also the name Razorline. It is a reference, a callback to Shadowline. That's where any comparison ends. They just did a callback to an ad imprint. Issue 9 is the final issue of Hyperkind, but that's the same amount of issues as Oakham and X. But what changes the game is we also have all new Hyperkind Unleashed. This was a one-shot wrap-up, issue 10 as it were. This and our next series both had these. And what's actually kind of cool is they both include Oakham and X and Saint Sinner wrap-ups too. You know those Nightbreed comics? They do fucking Nightbreed versus Rawhead Rex. Our final series is Ectokid, and this is maybe the best known for the simple reason of its writers. We have comic book veteran James Robinstar. He is the least notable of its writers. The accomplished comic book writer, he is the least notable. The other is one of the Wachowski people, the ones that made The Matrix. Apparently the other one, Ghost wrote some of it, but yeah, this is written by one of the Wachowskis. Basically, both of them unofficially. And there are some themes or ideas in Ecto Kid that apparently are similar to The Matrix. Truthfully, I don't know much of anything about Ecto Kid. I got excited when I heard the name, Ecto Kid. I hope it was a guy who was made of plasm or green goo. That would be fun. I think it's instead about some kid that enters another world. And this cover might be the closest we get to what I wanted, which was a person made up of green cum. The Matrix, on the other hand, it's easy to forget how actually amazing that movie is. The sequels helped downplay it, and then everything the brothers and now sisters have made since has been so bad that you write The Matrix off as a fluke or probably not as good as you remember it. Rewatch The Matrix. It holds up. It's a really excellent film. A lot of these look like those 90s comics most people want to avoid. It's taken me this long to point that out. I know these look like bad 90s comics, but I'm pressed for stuff to read when I don't touch new comics. Ecto Kid ends at issue 9. Like Hyperkind, we have Ecto Kid Unleashed. Then, not officially Razorline, but released concurrent by Marvel, was Pinhead, starring the Thing from Hellraiser. This is the first pain-packed issue. Another shiny cover. They're not working that well with the light setup. I don't know why they chose to name it Pinhead instead of Hellraiser. Maybe Marvel didn't want to incur the wrath of one of those concerned mother groups that would have a hissy fit over a book with the word L in its title. Notice Marvel's logo is on issue 1 and then none of the rest. I don't like Hellraiser. I don't like Pinhead. I think the Hellbound art is very lame. This actually lasts even shorter than any Razorline title. 6 issues. That's all, folks. I don't think any of you are interested in these. Prove us wrong in the comments. But I don't think it's likely that I will look at any of these soon, because I really believe it would be a waste of time. If I did a video about any of them, past the first issue anyway, I don't think people would be watching it. Oh, I forgot to say I got all 25 issues of Nightbreed. Good night, everyone. I give these comics 7 issues of Saint Sinner up.